Before I ever understood what was happening, I brushed it off like it was nothing. When Marco first mentioned it, I actually laughed. A sharp, dismissive laugh that carried more judgment than humor. "Seriously?" I said, shaking my head. "You're jealous of Lucas. He's my closest friend. We've known each other forever. Don't be ridiculous." Marco's jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. He just nodded slowly, retreating into a silence that should have warned me, but I was too smug to notice. Later I complained to my brother. "Marco's blowing things out of proportion. He's convinced Lucas is some kind of threat. It's childish." My brother agreed, and that made me feel even more justified. Lucas had always been a constant in my life, through failed relationships, job messes, and even when Marco and I first got together. He was the one person I talked to without filtering a thing. I never stopped to consider how that looked from the outside. I texted Lucas endlessly, responding the second he messaged. During dinners with Marco, I'd burst into laughter over something Lucas sent. There were private jokes Marco wasn't part of, hugs that lasted a little too long, and conversations that mysteriously changed when Marco walked into the room. I kept insisting it was harmless, but deep down, I knew it wasn't as innocent as I pretended. Few weeks later, Marco tried again. "Lena," he said quietly one night, "I need you to understand what this feels like. It's like you're giving pieces of yourself to Lucas. Pieces that should be ours." I scoffed and rolled my eyes. "You're overreacting. He's just a friend. Stop acting like you can control who I talk to." Something changed in Marco in that moment. I saw it flicker across his expression. A calm, final resolve. I was too wrapped up in feeling superior to recognize it. Then he stopped trying. Over the next month, Marco shifted in small, unsettling ways. He didn't ask where I was going when I said I was meeting Lucas. He didn't stay up waiting for me. The man who used to notice everything suddenly seemed like he was living miles away, even when he was in the same room. At first, I convinced myself this was improvement, proof he'd finally relaxed. But the truth was colder. His silence felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. Meanwhile, Lucas was still there, texting, calling, inviting me out, and I leaned into it even harder, almost defiantly. If Marco didn't care, then fine. I laughed louder at Lucas's jokes, stayed out later, shared more. But every step I took toward that friendship pushed my home into deeper frost. Meals became quiet. Marco stopped reaching for me at night. Conversations died before they started. Then one Friday night, I came home from being out with Lucas and found Marco sitting in the living room with a suitcase beside him. My stomach dropped. "What are you doing?" I whispered, trying to stay composed though panic was already creeping in. He looked up, not angry, not teary. "Just done." "I can't keep doing this, Lena," he said quietly. "I told you how it made me feel. You laughed at me. You made me feel small in my own marriage. I'm not begging for basic respect." I stammered. Wait, you're ending our marriage because of Lucas? This is insane." Marco breathed in deeply. "This isn't about Lucas. It's about you. You decided I didn't matter. You pushed me out, and now I'm choosing to leave." It was like the floor vanished. I always believed Marco would stay no matter what, that I could push, roll my eyes, dismiss him and he'd remain. But the man standing in front of me wasn't the one I thought I could count on forever. He was someone who had already let go. I rushed toward him, voice shaking. "Marco, please. Please don't do this. I'll stop seeing Lucas. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was wrong. Please don't go." He just shook his head. "You never listened, Lena. You didn't just ignore my feelings, you mocked them. You laughed while I was breaking." His words hit me like a punch. Suddenly, every moment came back in painful clarity. The dinners where I barely looked at him, the late nights I brushed him off, the times I chose Lucas's attention over my husband's trust. It wasn't jealousy. It was emotional betrayal. I grabbed his hand. "We can fix this. Change. I swear." He gently pulled away. "I spent years hoping you'd see me. You never did. Now I finally see myself. and I know I deserve more than being treated like a joke. He picked up his suitcase and walked out the door. The silence left behind was suffocating. I sank onto the couch, replaying every cruel laugh, every dismissive shrug, every moment I made him feel unimportant. My phone lit up with another message from Lucas, but for the first time I didn't care at all. His attention meant nothing compared to the husband I had pushed away. I always thought Marco would never leave. I was wrong. And by the time I realized the man I dismissed as jealous was the only one who truly loved me, it was far too late.